Hello, everyone. My name is Nate George, and we're going to go over a presentation on this Python crash course. So we will go over an overview here briefly. So we're going to talk about why we're using Python and why it's used in data science. Then we'll talk about how we're going to use Python with the Anaconda distribution. We'll go through a Jupyter notebook, which walks through some of the basics of Python. And then for Q&A and support, there are discussions in the course shell, and you can also reach out to your academic advisor, who is one of the professors in the data science department. So let's start with why Python. It's a top tool for data science, and it's been growing over time. Many data science jobs require that you have some Python skills, and quite often there will be Python skills tests when interviewing for positions. So it's important to have some good Python skills to be able to get a data science job. Many of the data science tools and applications are built in Python, and Python is also becoming larger over time, and it's just kind of snowballing with these network effects. So in terms of Python as a coding language, it has this kind of philosophy that it's meant to be fun, simple, clear, easy to use. And this is part of a poem called the Zen of Python, which describes some of that philosophy. You can look up the entire poem online, or if you are running Python, you can do import this. So if I just open up a terminal here, start running Python and do import this, it's kind of a little Easter egg, shows the entire poem there. And so you can kind of see what it looks like here. It's pretty simple, easy to read language. It also has these network effects we talked about. So on the left here is showing a plot of the number of Stack Overflow questions by programming language tag. So this is a website, stackoverflow.com, where people go to ask questions about programming languages and coding. And so we have data going back to around 2008. And so we can see that Python has been one of the top languages on there, people talking about it, asking questions, posting on there. And it's got about 10 times as many posts as one of the next biggest languages in data science, which is R. And then some of the other relevant languages here are much smaller number of questions. SQL is still pretty widely used, but I think because a lot of the SQL applications are a little bit simpler, there's not as many questions. We can also see from a bunch of different polls out there. Here's just one that we grabbed. Python is typically at the top in terms of the tools that data scientists or analysts will use. So you can see in this poll, some other tools are in here like RapidMiner and Excel, which are also GUI tools, and R and some other programming languages as well. But Python seems to be at the top, seems to be gaining steam, and a lot of jobs require that you know Python. So it seems like it's the best choice to learn for learning data science. So as far as installing it, we're going to use the Anaconda Python distribution. So this Python distribution will include Python, some Python packages, and a package manager, typically. So what we want to do to get going on that is we want to go to anaconda.org. That'll take us to their site. And then we can find the download Anaconda button. Click that. Scroll down a little bit to the download under the individual edition. And then you can download the graphical installer for Windows or for Mac. Or if you're on Linux, you can download the installer there. And so once we have that downloaded, we can go ahead and open it up. And when you're installing it, pretty much all the defaults work fine. The only thing that I usually do on Windows is I check this box to add Anaconda 3 to my path environment variable. So that'll just make it easier to run Python and Anaconda from, say, like a command terminal, command prompt. So if you type CMD in your start search bar in Windows, you can get to the command prompt, and then you'll be able to run Python from there. So that's about it for installing it. It'll take a little bit. And then once you have that installed, then you'll be able to run Python, and we'll see how we can run Jupyter Notebook with that in the next video. So in terms of resources and getting support, your professors or instructors are always here to help, of course. Your academic advisor also is a good resource, as well as your success coach. Obviously, your success coach is not really the person to go to for technical support or things like that. More for administrative and university things. And also your admissions counselor can help you a little bit with that too. So other students are always really good to network with and talk to. We've got some really smart students in the program that know a lot, so be sure to make some friends. It's important. We also have the Regis Learning Commons, has some tutoring and a writing center to help with writing. And then, as we'll see, we can use documentation, Stack Overflow, search engines to get support, kind of figure out things on our own, which is going to be very important for your future success. And as an example of using documentation, Guido van Rossum, the creator of Python, he talks about how he has to use the documentation all the time, even though, he created it and he's an expert in it. So everybody uses documentation. It's a good practice. And then last kind of useful tool here to be aware of, archive.is and archive.org are some of the websites where you can go to for archived websites if you come across some broken links. So there's several books here in terms of statistics, Python coding, and R coding. So those might be useful to you in the future as well. We do have a lot of books available through the library and the O'Reilly Safari interface. So definitely check out that resource. And then in terms of learning more about Python, there are just a ton of resources out there. You might consider doing some other courses as well if you're new to this, such as Udacity's intro or Kaggle's Python course, or any of the other many resources out there. And there's a bunch of other resources listed here that you can use as well. So that's all. I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you in the next video.